Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and this is your
We're the Eagles, no Elijahs, we don't care.
Photo News Fix. This fix is brought to you by B&H and their Depth of Field conference taking place on February 7th and 8th in New York City. And guess what? It's free. So what's Depth of Field all about, you may be asking? Well, it's a fashion, wedding, portrait, and event photography conference put on by B&H. There will be speakers such as Bruce Gilden, Peter Hurley, Joe McNally, Scott Kelby, some TikTok photographers, and more. And maybe I'll even show up and grab the mic and show people how it's done. It could happen, you never know. The other good thing is there's also an expo that will feature 30 exhibitors including Sony, Canon, Nikon, Fuji, Panasonic, Sigma, Tamron, and more. I don't know about Pentax though. So if you want to play with a bunch of gear, here's your chance. As a special bonus, if you sign up for a B&H Payboo credit card at the event, you will score a $50 gift card. If you can't make it in person, there are free online webinars as well. For more information, head on over to bhdepthoffield.com. First up, the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, has admitted that they over-focused on video last year.
Duh.
In a since disappeared Instagram story but turned into a transcript by The Verge, Mosseri said, "We definitely have a number of photographers who have been upset. They just want to make more money by sucking you into the algorithm." I wasn't actually. I guess I was a little upset. I want to be clear. Though we are leaning into video, we still value photos. Photos will always be a part of Instagram. Followed by, "I think we were over-focused on video in 2022 and pushed ranking too far and basically showed too many videos and not enough photos. We've since balanced, so things like how often someone likes photos versus videos and how often someone comments on photos versus videos are roughly equal, which is a good sign that things are balanced." Now, I did notice a drastic change around the time Instagram shifted focus to video, where some of my photos only received a couple of hundred likes opposed to the couple of thousand that I'm used to. It just didn't make any sense. But in the weeks and months that followed, it all made sense that IG was trying to take on TikTok, which they totally failed at. Also, a lot of photographers decided to panic, overreact, and went running for the hills, all while exclaiming that Instagram is over and everyone should go running to Vero.
I never heard of her.
This is why you need to stay even-keeled and calm before making some brash, not well thought out decisions. The moral of the story here is Instagram tried something. It didn't work out, and they have since course corrected, for now, until they try to copy the next thing that comes around. Or when Zuckerberg's like, "Ooh, let's copy this, or this, or this."
Copy of a copy.
Guess I'm banned from Facebook. Next up, a few weeks ago, this guy came up with a really solid clickbait title, "Adobe Caught Red-Handed. Did they trick you too?" By the way, you can call that title whatever you want. I call it a solid title that delivers on its promise. Anyway, as a quick recap, it seemed as if Adobe had auto-opted people into a program that allowed them to use their images that they store in Adobe's cloud to train their AI. And the only way to opt out was actually after the fact, by clicking a switch on the inside of your account on the website. Well, Adobe is now saying that they do not use your images to train the AI. In response to Petapixel, Adobe says, "We give customers full control of their privacy preferences and settings. The policy in discussion is not new and has been in place for a decade to help us enhance our products for customers. For anyone who prefers their content to be excluded from the analysis, we offer that option here."
Enhance.
Now that's one of those, how should I say this, beating around the bush responses. Well, they go on to say, when it comes to generative AI, Adobe does not use any data stored on customers' Creative Cloud accounts to train its experimental generative AI features. We are currently reviewing our policy to better define generative AI use cases. Now, I didn't know that the same policy has already been in effect for 10 years.
10 years.
One, because I never read it, and two, because I guess I didn't really care.
Right. Who just agrees to something they don't read?
But as technology continues to change, old policies do need to be updated to better reflect those changes. And Adobe says this whole thing was a wake-up call and that they are rolling out a new evolution of this policy that is more specific. If we ever allow people to opt in for generative AI specifically, we need to call it out and explain how we're using it. Now, I know that AI in art is a hot button issue right now, but a lot of what is going on I feel is more beneficial to us than harmful, like Adobe being able to select a subject, or select a sky, or cut something out, or tag a dog, a tree, or something when you go and search it. Right now, there's still a lot to learn. Some is good and some is bad. Speaking of bad, our photo podcast Raw Talk, it's not bad. I repeat, it's not bad for your health. And in fact, studies haven't shown that it might brighten your day and make you feel better. So be sure to check out new episodes of FroKnowsPhoto Raw Talk every Friday, wherever you get your podcasts. And finally, we have two really interesting patent filings from Canon. Starting with a new 1-inch stack sensor that can shoot HDR photos in a single exposure. That's one single exposure. Thankfully, the over HDRing of every photo trend of 12 years ago has died out. In fact, I put a video out 12 years ago ranting about HDR then.
There's a lot of terrible HDR images, and that's what threw me off.
What, you don't have a lawn chair and a Cabbage Patch Kid with a fro pick in it? Who are you?
I think I might be nobody.
Anyway, what's cool about this new sensor is that it has 736 distinct areas, with each area being able to set the proper exposure based on the amount of light present. Whereas HDR photos have to take multiple images at different exposures, smush them together to give you a final image. Where this tends to fall apart is if you have a moving subject and you try to HDR a scene, it just might not work. Now here's an example that Canon shared of it working. The first image is a car coming out of a garage. You can't see the driver, but the plate is exposed properly. The second image shows the driver, but not the plate. And the third image with this new sensor, you can see this is a terrible photo. I mean, you can see the driver and the plate all captured with one single terrible photo. Now keep in mind, this photo wasn't meant to be a good one. It's tech that is currently designed for industrial security cameras. But it's not hard to imagine a future where this is possible in cameras that we all use every day. And the second patent from Canon is for a shutter button with haptic feedback. Ever since Sony introduced the A9, which shot 20 frames per second silent, I've wanted something just like this. Now, there's been times where I've accidentally fired off 40 shots without realizing I was even pressing the shutter button. Now, Canon's patent basically adds a tiny haptic feedback motor to the shutter button that could vibrate when you take a photo or vibrate when in focus. This honestly might be the perfect camera for Howard Stern. My only concern with this feature is if it will somehow add vibration into the camera, which might affect my images. Nonetheless, I might like this feature if it ever comes in to a camera. And there you have it. That's your photo news fix this time around. To check out the last fix, go ahead and click on the screen right here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.